Welcome back to Recharge. Dr. Gene Shirakarad here with
Dr. Corey Howe.
That's you.
That's me.
That is you.
Yep.
Let's talk some more golf, shall we?
I think we shall.
Shall we?
Yeah.
We shall?
Yeah, I think so.
We've it's springtime-ish here in Maryland. Weather's in the 60s. It's lovely. So we're getting excited about going out and playing some golf. We've been doing a lot of our time spent in the golf simulator, Eagle 5 here in Howard County, Ellicott City area that opened up a little recently. It's been one of our favorite places on this planet.
Yeah.
From here.
Any downtime we get, we're like, hey, we should go to Eagle 5.
Which we are planning on going there as well to shoot some more footage for this video. So you'll see some of that cut in and out. But we're excited to get out on the golf course and shoot some videos for you guys. So if you're looking forward to see more golf content from us, go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube channel, which you're probably most likely watching this on. We're planning on taking the camera out there, watching you guys have us play. We still have a lot of work to do on the golf course, but we'll take you along on that journey too and teach you some things performance-wise and body movement specific as we get better in the golf game ourselves.
Sure.
But bringing it back here, let's talk about the golf swing and loading it. One thing that I'm working on a lot.
And I need to work on.
Yes, because it helps with rotation. I think one trap that guys like us or gals, anybody that falls into that are a little bit on the stronger side, it's compensating for lack of mechanics or good, clean golf mechanics.
Oftentimes when I swing a golf club, without thinking about it, just my more of a natural swing is I do arms first. I'm here.
Yeah.
I try to bring that club back to the ball with my arms.
Yep.
And then my hips follow. And that's what we're going to try to work on today, is the opposite of that.
Because we want you to drive and lead with your hips, and we want to create that magical lag with the golf club so that the ball explodes because you have that pent-up momentum in the club, a little physics for you. But it takes so much repetition to nail that down from a golf swing perspective, which again, we highly encourage you to work with a golf professional in your area to nail that down. But from a body mechanics standpoint, we want to show you 2 exercises to break down this loading on your lead leg and really help you with that lag with the golf club. Get your body ready for it, and more importantly, introduce that movement pattern, right? Now we're talking about your neural pathways, how your brain allows you to move. And we talked about this in the video before. We'll post it up here in the link above. It's great that you know what to do, but that won't change if your body is not able to actually do it. And that's kind of what we work on, is giving your body the ability to actually perform the movements you need for the golf swing. So let's go over 2 exercises that help with that hip drive and rotation that will ultimately give you and allow you to have that good golf club lag so the ball explodes off your club. Let's start with exercise 1. Exercise 1. All you need for this one is a kettlebell or a dumbbell, ideally a kettlebell, but really any weight will work. So what we want to do is get your body used to having your weight on your lead or front leg, right? Because that's where the force will go to. A lot of us, as we're doing our swing or as we're developing, we fall backwards or we have early extension because we can't load that front leg.
So we see it a lot in baseball, ex-baseball players.
Exactly.
We're used to swinging from our back leg and everything staying behind, and that's where we see that giant slice.
Yep, and that's literally what I was thinking when Corey was talking about how he relies on his arms, because I did the same thing where both of us, our history is baseball. We played baseball for a long time, and I'm so used to relying on my arms, and then the hips come through. So we have to retrain that for the golf swing, right? Because you have to keep your arms as the long lever to create that force generation. So what we're going to do is we have our kettlebell. Corey's going to demonstrate, so he's going to be our golfer today. He's going to grab the kettlebell with his left arm, which is going to be your lead arm on your swing. So
if you're right-handed.
If you're right-handed. If you're a lefty, flip it around. I mean, you should be used to things being upside down anyway. So here's what we're going to do. Corey's going to grab the kettlebell with his lead arm because he's a right-handed swinger. His left leg is going to be the load leg. So you want that kettlebell as close to the inner knee of that left leg because that's going to keep that force forward for you. His right leg is going to create a counterbalance. Now, this is very, very important because as you're going into your backswing, you don't want to shift weight too much. You want to be pretty much rotating on an axis. So imagine your tailbone, and that's where you really want the force to go. So by putting the leg back, that's going to create that counter force for the somewhat weight shift. So now Corey's going to rotate his hips back, which is mimicking the backswing. And then from that, you can see he already has that downward tilt of his shoulders, which you typically want. And then we're going to go in slow motion right now. As you go through your swing, your hips drive into your lead leg, and then you have that transition as your shoulder, the right shoulder dips and the left shoulder drives up. The kettlebell with that left arm maintains that weight shift on the lead leg. So if there's a club, that club will drag behind, creating that nice lag, which we'll show you with the second exercise in a second, how to load that a little bit better. So let's see it a little bit more in real time. Now, this shouldn't be the same speed as your golf swing. This is more introducing that synchronization of movement patterns for you. And especially if you have a hard time, you might move as a block. So don't get frustrated if you're moving like a robot. The point here is that over time, you're able to dissociate, which we also have a video for you, lumbopelvic dissociation, and create that force into that lead leg. So let's do a couple more repetitions. So Corey will show you. He's going to load that arm, tilt back in the backswing, and then drive up into that lead leg. Now, Corey said in the beginning that he has a hard time with this. So for most of you, it's going to look something like this because he has a hard time going through that and creating that opening in his rib cage. But the more he does this, the better he'll get at that transition and opening over and over and over again. And that weight really helps. So as you're doing this exercise, keep an eye or feel of that kettlebell. Is it moving around a lot? Is it flinging out? Or can you have that transition and really load and keep it nice and quiet while it loads that leg? How'd it feel?
Grip is tired.
And a bonus, it works for grip strength too, which you need. It's pretty helpful. So try that out. Like Corey said, we're using a 35,000 pound kettlebell, so you don't have to use that, but it should be heavy enough that it forces you to really stabilize on that side. If it's super light, then it won't have the same effect of forcing you to load that leg. In terms of rep schemes, again, we're talking about volume here. We want that repetition to train your nervous system. So you're looking at 12, 15, even up to 20, as long as your grip strength can handle it. And you're talking about 3 to 4 sets of that over and over and over again.
And with movements like this, they're more drills, I would say.
Yep.
You want to be intentional with your movement.
Exactly. That's a great point.
I don't have an empty head at that point when I'm doing the movement. I'm trying to visualize and think that my hips are moving first before I get the rotation in there to get that little bit of dissociation. Be intentional with your movement, and your movements will end up having that much more benefit.
Yeah, that's a great way to say it. Think about what you're doing. Think about having that golf swing, the golf club in your hand. Make that connection and see how it feels. Let us know if that loosens you up a little bit or if it creates that transition. If you've been having a hard time getting that weight shift onto that lead leg, when you finish through, let us know if this helps you out. Do this one and then match it up with the second exercise that we're about to go over. Let's check it out.
For exercise 2 in today's video, all we need is a resistance band and I guess something sturdy to attach it to. Yeah, we don't want to get snapped in the back of the leg with one of these. So now we're going to look at still the rotation, still the weight shift to the front leg, but now we have a resistance band to almost give us a tactile cue or a sensation to remind us to keep our hands back as we drive forward into the movement, twist our hips, and then follow through with our hands. So what Gene is going to do, we have the band attached to his trail side. Again, he's a right-handed golfer. From here, he's going to load his right leg. Load your right leg like you're going into a backswing. That's where we want to start here. Yeah, there we go. So now it's as if he's addressed a ball and he's loading up his backswing. Now from here, we need to segment what we're going to do. So we need to change the load from his trail leg to his lead leg. So that's where the weight shift comes in. Then his hips start to follow. and then his hands go. Good. Then come back. And drive through. Good. So he's being very intentional with what moves when, right? In a golf swing, we're not moving this slowly per se, but in a drill, we need to overestimate or over prepare how we're going to do in real life. So he loads back, he shifts his weight forward, and then his hands and hips come through. Good. What's that feel like?
I feel a lot of activation on my trail glute, and I feel a ton of load on the inner thigh of my lead leg, which is what we really want. The one thing I'm being intentional with, I actually caught myself with one of my faults that I do in my golf swing. As I was coming here, I tried to do a little spring that I tend to do.
Yeah.
So I had to really tell myself to keep that back leg quiet as I come through and only focus on that trunk explosion coming through without that squattiness that happens.
If you were to look at somebody from the side of their golf swing, it may look like they are getting a little bit of a squat and then an extension, but oftentimes what's happening is they're going from a relative hip flexion to extension that gives that appearance of a dip and a drive. But really it's that loading. Again, trail leg is in that relative hip flexion, and this is what I'm talking about here. This angle is more acute, and then when we drive through, it becomes extended. So that's that little dip that he's talking about.
Yeah, and then that's important because when you watch golf swings, whether it's on YouTube or a recording of yourself or whatever it is there's a lot of optical illusions of these angles that it might seem like a squat, but it's more of a transition that just seems that way. So if you're basing it like of professional golfers, I mean, that's not a very fair comparison because that's literally their job. And they have a ton of professionals that create their swing for them, with them. But when you're doing it yourself, this is one of the best ways to do it is where do you feel it on your body as you're going through it? Because it's very hard for feel to lie. That me feeling it here and feeling it here is where we really want to feel it on something like this.
And that's where feedback from either a swing coach or a performance coach like us can really come into benefit because we can help guide you help you to understand where you're supposed to feel things, right? Sometimes we see exercises or movements on YouTube and we try to mimic them, but we don't know if we're doing them right because we don't know what we're supposed to feel. And that's where an outside source, an outside professional can help with that.
Yeah, and then combining the two. We work with plenty of our athletes that have professional golf swings and that we work in concert with them. This is not one or the other. It's, again, having the body be able to do one thing, then have a golf swing coach or golf professional put it together in the sport-specific way for your swing. And when you put those two together, strokes go down.
It's so nice when you hit that pure shot.
Oh, it's awesome.
It's what keeps you coming back.
Yep. Ideally in the same fairway that you want it to go. That's where the golf swing will help.
That's where the swing coach helps.
Exactly. So 2 exercises for you for that loading response will help with the lag in your swing. Most importantly, it's to get that weight shift and clearing of your hips, to have that clear, pure rotation. Takes a lot of stress off your shoulders, right? To, like you said in the beginning, that urge to do that and chip away. For me, the number one thing for me is when you can focus on that hip rotation, it provides consistency in the golf swing. When you're not thinking about what the arms are doing, when the arms are just following the mechanics, then it cleans up and then you can reproduce it over and over again.
We talk about power a lot in our golf performance programming, but when we can generate power from the right areas, that's when we really see the benefit in the golf swing. When we can swing less hard, but drive at the same distance or further, that's how we know we're doing the right thing.
That's huge. That's huge. If you found that helpful, 1, try them out. See how it works out for you. Number 2, subscribe. Let us know that you're enjoying these and following along. Again, we have a lot more golf content, exercises like these, and we'll take you out and on the golf course when we play. So we'll do some fun stuff on the golf course so you can get a sense of how we swing, how we adjust to terrible shots, and how we celebrate great shots. So that's coming soon as well. But make sure you subscribe. If you want to see any of our programs, or if you're somewhere near us and you want to come by for some training here, head over to rechargexfit.com golfclub.com, and we have an entire golf performance section that you can pick whatever works for you. Thanks for tuning in. Go subscribe, and we'll catch you again on the next episode from Recharge.